In previous episode, we talked about the concept of user interface ticking inside the game. Hello everyone, this is Ali Reza. Welcome to the Mentor Code Lab. In this video, we will write the code so that we would have an interface and any screen that is implementing this interface would be able to tick itself. Now I will put the interface under the client folder because it gives me a bit of organization and anything that is under the client should be the client side things. So let's add a new class and let's call it iTickScreenHandler and it's an interface. Now iTickScreenHandler has only one method, void tick, and this is server player entity, we call it player. Also, I want to add something that is static and it's not a method that you need to put here and there. Static void init, and because it's inside any interface, we will add the default implementation. Now, static void init is responsible of adding something to game events. However, in the JiraLib, we don't have any entry point for the client or for the server. So we don't have any way of adding the call to any event. However, inside this init, we will add the code so that in your mod, if you need to, you can just call the iTickScreenHandler.init and it will immediately add the register call to the events. So we say server tick events dot end underline world tick. This event will happen each time the server world is ticking and finishing its tick. So at the end of the server world tick, we can safely register our call to tick the GUI. Remember, the GUI is actually dissected in two sections, as we know. One is the renderer that happens on the client side, but the handler is actually happening on the server side, and that part is the one that is responsible of handling the user interface logic. So if we are going to tick an interface, the best place would be on the server, because as we know, ticks are always happening on the server side, and the user interface on the client side is just showing the result to us. So at the end of the server word tick, we want to add a method and we call word that goes into a lambda. Now let's open this lambda. All I want to do here, I want to say that for each server player entity, we call it player, inside the word that get players, this will return the list of players that are playing on the server actually, and we loop through them. So for each one of them, we check if the player dot current screen handler. This returns the current screen handler that we are using by that player. If it's instance of this iTickScreenHandler and we call it tickable screen, all we want to do is saying that, hey, yeah, tickable screen dot tick player. And believe it or not, this is all we need to do. Now let's have a mockup class and let's see how we can use this in combination with any mod. So let's open a test folder or package under the Jiraiya. This is temporary, I will remove it. In the test, I will have our main, okay? So we have the Java class that is called main, and we already know that the main will have something like, I don't know, the public void onInitialize. Now in the onInitialize method, all we want to say is that iTickScreenHandler dot init, and this will initialize that event call and register itself to the system. And remember, we are doing it on initialize because it's registering to the systems. It can happen at any order in the on initialize, but normally I register my events first unless there is something really special that I don't know, I never had encountered, but well, I'm putting it out there. You may want to change the order. However, me myself got into the habit of registering my events as the very first thing in the init file. Okay, then we will have a package somewhere called the screen, and in the screen we will have a screen handler. Okay, now here we will have another class, I don't know, some screen handler, and let's say that it belongs to a block entity. Okay, all we want to do, we want to extend from our screen handler. What was the name of it again? Abstract screen handler. All I need to do is say implements iTickScreenHandler. And now I just need to implement a method for the tick. And of course, if you had this, then we had to put the constructor out there. But then if you put your logic here, it will tick like a block entity is ticking. Actually, it would be the same thing, and the player wouldn't identify the difference, especially if they don't know anything about Minecraft modding. For example, one little example of using this ability is to have a portable, I don't know, crafting table or a portable machine or a portable furnace. So you have an item in your hand, and when you use the item, you open a screen, and in that screen, you have a tick method. So it's actually handling the tick. So in this case, you don't have a block entity, so there will be no inventory in that block entity. But here, exactly here is when you will have an inventory and you will have your slots and everything else will happen here. Okay, we may have an example for this in our main series in the future. I'm not sure about this one, but the bottom line is that now if you add anything here, for example, let's say that we have a debugging log, okay, and we have an item in our hand that is opening this screen by right clicking it. So when we right click the item, we will suddenly see that the GUI will come up, but that logging info will log itself every single tick. And this is how you would know that this screen handler is actually ticking on the server side. The nice thing about what we have here right now is that we made sure that we are adding it to the server tick events. In other words, we already know that this tick event will be server side. Now, of course, we don't have the word here right now, but if you want to, you can get the word, or maybe, I don't know, here you would add the word here as a second parameter. But honestly, I think we should be able to get the word from player if I'm not wrong. Here we go. Get server word, and that's a safe thing because we already know that we are on the server side. So the server word, being an extension of the word class, will give us everything we need, and we can use anything we want. Don't forget, because we are sending in the player, we already have access to the player's location, the block, the yacht, the piece, everything else that we may be interested in having them. So if we utilize this single interface cautiously, this single interface opens a huge door toward new things being possible inside Minecraft. However, this doesn't belong to me, and actually I need to add the annotations on top of these three classes from before, because again, the idea came from 3040, both for the block entity, of course, and for the G screen block entity, and especially this view interface. However, 30 didn't have this init method. He just had the tick, and then he was calling this part in its mod on initialize. Because we are moving it toward a library, now we have to have a method that we can call from our main just to be safe. Now I need to remove all of these, and this will be our last interface, actually, I think, in the JiraLib for a long time. As much as I care, JiraLib is now a ready to be published library. Let me talk about one or two things that may happen inside GBase, and one of them is already happened. I have added the XP helper. Now this XP helper doesn't come from 3040. No, it comes from Direwolf20, and he is not a Discord user, he is a YouTube user, and again the user is Direwolf20. The thing is that his library is for Forge, and I moved it into Fabric, just some name changes here and there, and this helper library is all about retrieving the experience levels, the number of experiences you need to go from 0 to some level, or from this level to the next level, or convert the level to the number of experiences, stuff like that, and it can be useful, although I now need to change these things, but I will do them when I stop the recording. And honestly, I don't know if he has a Discord or not, but we will find out later. In other words, I started looking around and find anything useful. Now, Dire has something else in his library, and that's related to getting the direction from the player's pitch and yaw, and I will add it inside the utils here, and I may call it a player helper. So as I see something useful, maybe inside Forge libraries, maybe in other mods libraries, I will start adding them under here. Anyways, in the next video, I will come back and finish that JInventory class, because we are almost done there, and there are some things that I'm not happy with it, and we need to change it. And I already started some of those changes, and I will talk about them in the next video. But if you notice, under components folder, we only have the component container, and none of the other components remain here, because I think we need to review this system again, especially in relation with the the J inventory, and that happens in the next video.
If you like these videos, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and turn on that bell so that when I publish a new video, you will get informed. Have fun, everyone. Bye.